Welcome everyone, and welcome back to Forward Operating Base Lake Fork. I am Greg Hill, and I'm your host of your fishing show today. I'm out here on Lake Fork. It's not the greatest weather day out here. It's been kind of raining off and on me today. It was in almost up in the 60s today, I think, though. I had started off with 4 layers today, and then I went down to a t-shirt, and now I'm back now with 2 layers on, a shirt and a heavier shirt. So the weather's changed a lot today, and it's getting a little misty rain, so I'll probably kind of keep this as short as I can. But look, the week has been a good week. I started off going on Monday myself. I had guide trips this week, so I went up with myself, find a spot, going back and fishing the places I had fishing pre-spawn. When I went back to those places, fish were pretty much still there, and they were basically just the fish that were still in the 8 to 10 foot range were still kind of in the same spots. They were very slow though. The water was very cold. I got to those places and the water temperatures were 43, where they've been like 49 before the freeze. Go back to the backs of the coves, the same thing, 43s, 45s, really cold water. It was interesting because there was a lot of cold water towards the back of the cove, but in the mouth of the cove, it wasn't as cold. So, now today, so it's Sunday. I had water as high as 54 degrees a day in a cove I was fishing in, but I did not catch any fish way up in the shallows today. Most of my bigger fish caught probably in the 5 to 7 foot range, maybe up to 8 feet. The smaller ones I caught today were up in 3 to 4 feet, but I looked for bedding fish. I didn't see any. The one fish I caught, the largest one, I caught it over today. It had some blood on its tail, but I don't think it was from spawning. I think it had something wrong with its tail. It had a lumpy tail, and it had some like a mucousy blood on it. So I really don't think it was bedding at all. And it was a long, skinny fish. So it's something that wasn't a very heavy fish, but it was over 24 inches. I'm going to go through the bait. So hey, the good news is we did get the rain. The rain made the water level come up. I was guiding on Wednesday with clients, and we didn't do very well. I mean, we caught 1 fish. I mean, it was tough. And then I had an in-between day, and then I had guide trip on Friday where we caught 2 fish. The water was just cold. Now I noticed that we just needed to slow down. On Friday we slowed down to a different technique I'll show today, and we haven't caught that fish. We caught 1 good fish with a jig on Wednesday, and then Friday we only caught 2 fish. And they all came on the same bait, and I'm going to go over those today. So, look, the water has been warming up steadily, 54 degrees now, I said, but the good news is we had the rain. On Wednesday, I told my clients, I was like, we're about a foot low, it seems, and to really get back into the spawning brush that the fish need to spawn in, kind of like last year, we need the water to come up, and it's up. It's right exactly where it should be right now. So coming out today was just perfect. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this next week. With the temperatures the way they are, 55 degrees, I think the fish are going to be moving up on bed here. I think that's the case right now. So like I said, I didn't see any on bed today. I'm still catching the pre-spawn fish. And then as I'm coming through these areas, I'm kind of keen, I'm seeing gizzard, shad, balls, and the bigger fish are chasing those around right now. They're just feeding up. If you can find some stumps, some kind of laydown that's in that 5 to 7 foot range, these gizzard shad are moving around about that depth, and you're just, they're being ambushed, by the bass. At least that's where I'm seeing where I am. I'm not all over the lake today. I'm only really in one part. Matter of fact, all the fish I caught today came within a 200-yard bank. I went 200 yards and 200 yards and 200 yards back and forth, and I caught all those fish on it because it's just a place I know they pre-stage at. So, again, just like I had talked about last week on my fishing report, look on your map. Look where the spawning places are. Look where the feeder creeks and little guts that run up into these spots, and go out there and take a look at those spots. Go out and take a look at the places where basically the fish will sit there and prepare to go spawn. You get these guts, they have some grass in it, they have the buckbrush in it, and that's where the fish are going to spawn, and they're right in that gut today, and that's where I caught all right on the edges of those guts. So I'm going to go over the lure set that I used this week, and then I'll talk about some other just real quick stuff at the end. So look, remember, before the freeze, I was throwing, kind of flat-sided, a little smaller profile crankbaits that ran about in the 7-foot deep range. So today I went and changed to a larger profile bait, just a little larger. I mean, it's not that much bigger, but it is bigger. And because I noticed that the gizzard shad that were in here were larger. I can see them on my electronics when there's an individual gizzard shad. You can tell it's pretty big. So I went to that, and I only caught one bait on that, but I had such success with my other baits that I didn't throw it very much. I threw it a little bit when I was just kind of moving through an area, moving across the gut to the other side to the point, and so I didn't really do it. So swim jig, white swim jig, throwing back in the very shallow part, brought out, got a hit from a smaller fish in 3 to 4 feet of water probably. Chartreuse, the watercolor has gotten a little muddy in some places, so I've gone to the chartreuse color, and that really bright white color with the chartreuse back on it, you can see. So it needs a little extra visibility to be able to see those baits, I think. And then of course my biggest fish, my bigger fish today coming on the jig. Caught a really good fish on the jig and a really good fish on the next bait I'm going to show you. So when I was guide fishing on Wednesday and Friday, what we finally got to the point was I started throwing, the fish were so slow, I started throwing a very small 4-inch Senko, white with kind of a pumpkin seed on the back, and I got a bullet weight in the nose of it. And of course I'm using the wacky rig. I've got the little tube on there. And when you work that bait, it's just swimming through the water column. You can swim it, you can let it go down the bottom, kind of bouncing on the bottom real slow. And we got bites doing both those. I got bites doing that today. Now this didn't bring in the bigger fish today, so I went ahead and upsized, and that's all I really did. I went to a huge oversized Senko, pumpkin seed on the back, chartreuse on the bottom, and man, they popped this thing today. This was my big bait. I mean, this was the majority of the numbers today. So again, 5 to 7 feet deep, and it was a lot of fun. I think I had around about probably the top, I mean, if you took my 5 fish, I probably had 32 to 33 pounds, somewhere in there. So really, really great fun. I mean, I caught the one over, but it was skinny. It was only 6 1/4 pounds. It's over 24 inches long, and it was 6 1/4 pounds. That was one skinny fish. The other fish were fat, but they were short, and they didn't, they were great fish to catch, but they weren't overs, and they weren't over 8 pounds, so I can't put them in the Sharelunker program. But that one's over 24, even though it's 6 1/4, you can bet I'm putting that baby in the Sharelunker program. So, and I'll tell you, so some guys don't know it, just so you know. Look, they've changed the Sharelunker program. Texas Parks and Wildlife, they want to track the fish around. They want to get better tracking in the fish. So now, remember, there's 3 categories now. So don't forget that if you're out on the lake and you catch a nice fish. If it's over 24 inches or over 8 pounds, you can register it as, it's like a lunker class. If it's 10 pounds or greater, it's the elite class. And if it's over 13 pounds, that's the one that everybody used to talk about as a Sharelunker, that they'll basically come and take from you and take it down to Austin and breed it. They don't do that with the over 10s, and they don't do that with 8s or over 24s. So, but look, you still get your little bag of lures that you send in, your little sticker and stuff. So it's just a little fun way to keep track of you're catching some big fish. So you guys out there, I register all those fish because I think it's great, and I encourage all my customers to do it too. So it's a great way to have fun and kind of get your name on the little roster, of the Sharelunker fish. But I guess that's about it for today. I don't know what's going to be happening this next week. We're going to have a little bit of rain for the next 2 days. Next 3 days, it's supposed to warm back up, I think, on Wednesday. But I'll be back out here again, whether it's rain or rain or shine, and I'll give you guys reports during the week if I can, to kind of just do a real quick update. And I'm going to be very good about keeping up my weekly updates here this year. So look, from Forward Operating Base Lake Fork, I hope you have a great time watching my show, and I hope you learned something a little bit about the fishing. I want to say one more thing though. I got to always get a little plug in for my sponsors because people help me out and they come in for me. So look, I'm just going to run through my, look, I use Temple Fork Outfitter rods, every single rod except for one rod, and that other one rod is kind of holdover to my Quantum rods. Every one of my reels is a Quantum reel. my customers have really enjoyed using both of those sets. I've got quantum reels on Temple Fork Outfitter rods. I'll tell you what, I'm using the new, basically it's their tactical glass rod. So Temple Fork Outfitters has a new, basically it's just for crankbaiting, like you think. And they just came out with this year. I got 2 of the first ones, and man, I love that rod. It is a great rod. It's got the give that you need. It's nice, and it's got some meat to it to help you, pull. But it's got that give that you need with those treble hooks to basically keep that fish on. And I'm probably going to go out night fishing tonight and kind of take a look around. I'm anticipating, since the water warmed up a little bit, that the night fishing is going to get pretty good. Okay, look, if you guys are looking for a guided fishing trip coming up, I have dates in March and April still open. So send me a message on my Facebook. Go to my website, www.foblakefork.com. Forward operating base Lake Fork. So you guys that are in the military know what a FOB is. For the civilians out there, non-military guys, FOB stands for Forward Operating Base. It's like that base that's way out in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of surrounded by bad guys, and that's what I talk about FOB Lake. I say, hey, we don't leave a fish behind at Forward Operating Base Lake Fork. But look, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Look, if you'll follow me on YouTube, subscribe to me on YouTube and Facebook, and then I'll keep posting this information. I got some good comments from some people this last week, and I'm really looking forward to, I always answer the questions, and I look forward to kind of talking to you guys more as the year goes along. So that's it from today's show. I'm Greg Hill. Thank you very much. Hey, I wanted to add one thing today, because we talk about how tough was the fishing after the freeze. And I talked about how I had a tough week guiding that this week. But look, we caught fish during the week, but not a great fish. I had that one day where we basically caught nothing. And one fish doesn't count really, in my opinion. But think about the tournament they had here on Saturday. So there's like 319 teams. The team that won caught 1 fish, and it was over, and it won the tournament for them. I think there was one more over caught that probably got. That means they got second place. Out of 319 teams, I think there were 239 teams that zeroed. 239 teams zeroed. So was it a tough week to fish Lake Fork? Yep, I think it probably was. So I didn't think it was that hard when the week started off. And right now, I didn't think today was hard at all. But I guess it was pretty hard, and to all those guys that came out here and, fished on Saturday and, made their best effort, man, Lake Fork can be tough, and I think it was just, tougher because of that freeze, obviously. So anyway, just want to throw that comment out there, because I didn't find that out really until yesterday about how tough the fishing was. And man, that's a long day when you have so many people just basically scratching. So anyway, you guys take care.